Alright, hello everybody. Welcome to IA Command. It's TV Boy here, and we've got another skirmish game log review for you. Third one for the week, trying to make up for some lost time from the last 2 weeks. And we've got another game on the brand new skirmish map, ISB Training Grounds. Once again on Mission B. I'm going to hopefully try and find some Mission A game logs, but I didn't see any when I was going through them earlier today. So this is the one I'm going to be showing you guys. This is one that I played against Destruct 1, or Destruction, or I guess he has Destruct on his card there, so we'll just say Destruct. Not Destructor, aka Gabe, but a different player. And I decided I wanted to try out and see if I could do something with melee figures on this map. I know there's been a lot of discussion about it's quite difficult, and so I wanted to see if I could try my hand and see if I can make something work. I just popped in a list that I had already built from a previous season. This is my Kestis Chewbacca Technician list. Focuses on using Technician cards, specifically all in a day's work, to give extra actions to my figures. And it keys off of things like Pummel, which is great also with Ezra, as well as Chewbacca's Slam ability, since Slam still counts as a special action, even if you're using it with the Wookiee Avenger, which removes the action cost. Still counts as a special action, so it still triggers cards like To the Limit and All in a Day's Work, since Chewbacca is a Technician now, has gained the Technician trait. And then I've got Ezra in here to kind of bridge the gap between Chewbacca being a smuggler and Cal Kestis being a Force user. So Ezra's a Force user smuggler, who also works really well with Pummel because of his brash ability. So at the start of the round, you can move 4 and get next to somebody, so he can able to use both of his actions to pummel. And then to round out the list, I've got Jin Odon as, again, another great smuggler figure to go with some smuggler cards like On the Lam and Tools for the Job. And then I've got the Rebel Care Package and Balance of the Force as my 40th point to help me fit Debts Repaid, which is a 3-point card that you pretty much are forced to run in a Chewbacca list because of the way his Wookiee Avenger upgrade card is worded. It says you have to draw 1 less card each at the start of the game, so that you can search out debts. And if you don't have Debts Repaid in your deck, then you just start with 1 less card in your hand, which is rough. So, and I am playing against Destruct, who is playing the Scout Troopers, and there's been quite a bit of buzz on the Discord around these guys and how good they are on this map, so we get to see them in action here. I believe they were redone in Season 8, no, Season 7? I think it was Season 7. I can't remember anymore. But they have great range, because you can see buried in their text box there, it says they apply +3 accuracy and -1 evade to their attack results when they attack. So they've got blue, they've got +3 accuracy built in, so that's 5 minimum. And they can also surge for +3 accuracy, which is helped by the fact that it's very hard to roll evades against them to cancel out their surges. So very good snipers. Also the fact they have camouflage, which means that you cannot draw a line of sight to them if you're 4 more spaces away. So they are very good in the sniper wars on long-range maps like this one. And they are also spies, which is really great for controlling the initiative flow with cards like Strategic Shift and Comm Disruption. They can take initiative, and if the opponent has negation, they can force it by negating the negation with Comm Disrupt to force the initiative to their side when they want it. And they can punish players who are trying to wait out the initiative change with Strat Shift to wreck their hand at a very critical moment. And then we've also got Krennic and Iden, also both spies. Very good figures. And then he is running actually not Krennic, what did I say? Callus. So that was Callus, and then Krennic as well. To give out some tokens and give the Scout Troopers even more damage boost with the token doubling ability. And I should have mentioned the Scout Troopers. The other thing that makes them really good is the Vader's Finest attachment, which I am trying to pull out here. There we go. So this, I believe, was from the most recent season. And this allows them to focus up once per group per round. So another thing that makes them very good on maps like this, where players kind of have to wait for the right moment, is that they can focus up and token up and become very powerful attackers if you wait too long against them. And yeah, so the way that you really have to do it on, if you're playing melee or close range, it is tough on this map. The way you have to do it is you have to wait until you're going to have the last activation in the round, and you're going to have initiative going into the next round. So having a high activation count is going to be really important if you're going to have melee or close range figures that can't attack at long range. Having lots of movement cards will also be really important, as it always is. But then waiting till the initiative is on your side, the initiative swing is going to favor you, is also going to be really important. So I started with initiative. Also, I want to preface before we start. I was very tired when I played this game. We decided to play it as just a practice game, so no time limit. And it was very late. I think we started playing at like midnight my time. Also, this was the day of Spring Forward, the time change with daylight savings. So I think we played for like 2 hours till like 2 in the morning, which is actually 3 in the morning. Ended up being 3 in the morning, but that's because of the lost hour. So anyway, that's to say that I made a couple weird decisions sometimes, or I do things strangely. Also, there might have been a rules mistake or two, but I feel like I actually played this game pretty tightly, despite that, pretty well. And I really appreciate Destruct for being very patient with me, as I did sometimes take a long time to think for my moves, because I really wanted to find the right play pattern for this map, and also we got interrupted a couple times while we were playing. So hopefully this game log review will be much shorter, because you won't have to wait for me to think through all my moves. It'll be very interesting. I thought this was a very interesting game that we get to watch here. So starting off is going to be me. I think we're tied on activations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we both have 7. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7. So, but I have initiative. I chose the blue side because I just wasn't really sure about which one's better. It's been looking to me like the blue side with this blocking terrain might be better for waiting out the initiative change. But I'm starting to think, based on the discussions I've seen, especially with Destruct, who's been doing a really great analysis on this map in the Discord, that red is, in fact, the better deployment zone for both missions, because they have this area here is a lot safer, or specifically this space and this space. They're a lot safer, and you can attack from them a lot better coming around this way. And the blue side, if you try to hide here or here, is a lot more exposed, and it's easier to attack than to attack this side. So I might have made the wrong deployment zone choice here, but we're learning. So that's the first thing I've learned now about this map, is if you do have initiative, or you get stuck with initiative, you probably want to take the red deployment zone. And we draw our cards. So I start off with, again, Debts Repaid in my hand. I also have Planning, and I think I had Heart of Freedom to start off with. So the thing here is, when you're playing against spies, which there are 4 spy groups in Destruct's list, you don't want to burn your card draw early in the game. You need to be, especially if you don't have Smuggling Compartment, which I'm now realizing I'm probably going to have to start adding to all my lists, because otherwise the spy matchup on this map, it becomes kind of unbearable. I use Brash here with Ezra, and then I'm activating R2 first. So, like I was saying, you don't want to burn cards like Planning or Black Market Prices early against the spy list, unless you think you're going to be able to do something with the cards right then, or if they've already activated all their spies in the round. The reason for that is that if they do strat shift you and you don't have Smuggling Compartment, you want those card draw cards to go back into your deck and to be able to draw them later in the game to help you rebuild your hand faster after getting strat shifted. So I do have planning, but I don't intend to play it here. I do go ahead and just draw with R2. I figure, which may have been a mistake, but I figure that he's probably going to just, like, if he's going to strat shift me, he'll probably just activate Callus last, since he has last activation this round. He'll wait till I've activated everybody, and then he'll draw both of us a card with Callus, and then strat shift with Callus. So I didn't really see a point in waiting with R2, because I'm not going to be trying to push for an attack this round. My plan is to wait until the end of round 2 to make my move, where I know that I'm going to be getting initiative going into round 3. So we start focusing up folks. Krennic gives out power tokens to the scouts. I focus up Cal Kestis with Gideon and Ezra with 3PO. I also pick up my taps. So now we've both picked up our taps. Oh, by the way, the mission on this, I forgot to mention, infiltration games. You can pick up the taps, which are the 2 tokens in each player's deployment zones for an action. And then a figure can spend an action to install the tap that matches their deployment zone's color onto one of these 3 groups of panels. And when you do that, at the end of each round, each player who has a tap that matches their color, their deployment zone color, on a panel will gain 4 victory points. However, once a tap has been installed on a panel, players can attack that panel, and they have 5 health and 1 block. So there is a opportunity between players installing the panels with their actions and the end of the round, when you would score off of those panels, for them to be destroyed. So that's very critical in how you approach this mission. But you want to make sure you pick up those taps. And I'm going to move these closer so that we can zoom in a little bit more. You guys can see the action a little better. Now that those taps have been picked up, we don't have to be zoomed out anymore. So I move Chewbacca. So I'm positioning everybody in this area because I know it's pretty safe. It's very hard to attack this part of the map. I've also got R2 in a spot where he can, next turn, Scomp Link and open the door with his 2 actions if I need him to. Okay, so Destruct is playing planning here with Iden, who's going to move up. And you'll notice Destruct has his officer right here. Normally, I don't think that's a good thing to do against most range lists. But he's doing it here because it gives him access to go 1, 2, 3, 4 to here to install the tap, or he can go 1, 2, 3, 4 to here to install the tap there. So this officer is threatening both of those panels. It's something you can do if you're playing against a list that is primarily melee and short range. So I think it's actually okay against me. Chewbacca has pretty terrible range on his attacks, even if he's focused. Jin is also not great. So if a Jin would go here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah, it's range 8, which I think I saw was like a 47% chance to hit at range 8 with a focused Jin Odon. So he's pretty safe, but you need to be careful when you're placing your figures to go after these left side panels, because that is exposed, in terms of line of sight, that is exposed to long range attacks. Which we're seeing more and more of in the meta now. So I activate Ezra, and I decide to go to the left. So this is also a pretty safe location in terms of being on the blue side. It's not super safe because your opponent can put somebody over here, and then next round they can pop down here and shoot at you, and then pop back up. So you want to be careful about deploying here. And Destruct still has 2 activations. Oh, so down Destruct activates his first group of scouts, and he moves B2 down here because he wants to try and open my door to be able to attack my terminal sitter, which is a good strategy. And also, if I try to open my door here to threaten his scout trooper, then he still has the last activation to attack me with his 2 scout troopers, or at least attack R2-D2. Also, I can't really I can't move Cal to open that door without leaving him exposed. So I'd be eating 2 scout trooper attacks at the end of round 1, and then when Destruct gets initiative going into round 2, I'd have to eat 2 more attacks, plus possibly a Call the Vanguard attack, which I do not want to do. So instead what I do is I move Cal right up behind R2, and this way, if Destruct tries to open my door with his scout, he'll still only be able to attack R2 with his other scout, and then I can punish him by moving Cal out to attack the scout trooper, who won't be able to move more than 2 spaces back from the door, and then move Cal back into cover behind R2. So that was my attempt to counter that cheeky door play. And then Destruct able to put Scout Trooper on the terminal. That's another great thing about Scouts, is they can be your terminal sitter on this map, and you don't have to worry about leaving your door open. Because you cannot attack a Scout Trooper unless you're like all the way up here because of the camouflage ability. So yeah, Scouts, this is probably one of the best maps we've put out for Scout Troopers at this point. Because I think they got kind of ignored over the last season. I don't think I saw a whole lot of people playing them, even though they're still really good. But okay, so now going into round 2. So I decide to brash Ezra up 4 spaces to here, so that because Destruct has positioned his figures more to the right side, mostly probably to avoid Ezra coming to attack them. But I'm trying to position Ezra so that I can threaten his forces on the right, or if I need to, I can just retreat back with a double move back to safety here if I feel like it gets too dangerous for Ezra. Alright, so I'm going to activate the officer, and I'm going to just go ahead and put the tap right on that panel there. I guess, oh yeah, that was the other thing that Ezra did with that, is he blocked the installation on this far left panel with that positioning. So at this point, I decide that it's good to just go with Chewbacca and try and destroy this tap before he can score off of it. And I haven't gotten strat shifted yet, so all of the cards in my hand, I just feel like they're basically sacrificed. Like or what am I trying to say? They're basically it's like they're not there, right? Because I can't rely. I think I had drawn like on the lamb at this point. Let's see. Yeah, I had drawn on the lamb, I had drawn pummel, and I had drawn tools for the job. And I just feel like, you know, as soon as he strat shifts me at the end of this round, or after I activate R2-D2, or after he calluses, then I am just going to lose all those cards. So I might as well use some of them while I can. So Heart of Freedom here is going to allow me to move Chewbacca to where I can see that panel, which is going to be this space, and then be able to move back to cover. My goal in playing on this map is to not give Destruct any free attacks on me. Even if it seems like they would be difficult attacks to make, I just don't want to let him attack me for free without having to eat an attack back from me. So I'm trying to stay as well hidden as I can. So I attack the panel and I destroy the tap. And the interesting thing is, once the tap is destroyed, you don't get a replacement tap. It doesn't drop off. It's just the tap itself and the panel are destroyed. So you could lose both your taps and then not be able to score for the rest of the game. And then so Chewbacca moving back to safety. Officer going to activate for Destruct and moves on to the terminal. So I activate Gideon, and I focus Jin and decide to start moving Gideon out of the deployment zone since he is carrying a tap. I want to kind of make progress with him moving forward, so that I can install my tap if I need to. Oh, and Destruct does use Callus here with Hunt Descent. Oh, I gotta switch back to player 3. When I played my Heart of Freedom, we let that rewind so you could put some power tokens and use Hunt Descent. Okay. And it looks like... Oh, A2, so his Scout Troopers played Ready Weapon, so they're really tokened up now. Just, oh my gosh. Focuses and damage power tokens for days. Okay. And I decide to activate Jin and just take out that officer. Trying to get as any points I can here. Especially if this is like a timed tournament game. We played untimed, which will make things interesting as we get to the end, but like if it's a timed game, then I want to be able to pick up any VPs I can along the way, so that you know, if we're playing the waiting game, then I'm not as disadvantaged. So the Scout Trooper focuses the B2, the one that was going to go for the door, decides to back off, and that maybe he doesn't want to open my door after all. Has to think about it though. I think he was. I think based on the text chat, he was about to YOLO it and open my door, but decides to back off and just focuses the B2 for the time being. And then yeah, just decides to hold back. There's not much I can do as far as threatening his position here, but I might be able to flank him with Ezra. I actually made a mistake here. I thought I only had 3 activations left. But I did have 3PO that I could have activated. I think in hindsight, activating 3PO first, and then he probably would have activated Krennic, and then he would have Callus and strat shifted me. So I know that as soon as I activate R2 and draw a card, I'm gonna get strat shifted. So Krennic activates, stands next to the panel. I activate 3PO and refocus Jin Odon. And now we have Callus has us both draw a card, and then of course we'll play strat shift to remove my hand and reduce it back down to 2 cards. So lost a lot of good cards there, but pretty much was just waiting for that to happen. It's rough when you get strat shifted and you're not ready for it, and you've like made all of your commitments thinking you're going to have all these cards in your hand. But if you know it's coming, you can kind of plan for it. Alright, so I did draw black market prices. I have Ezra and Cal left. I like to activate Cal last because of force slow. It's really hard to say. Force slow, so that I can react to where my opponent places their figure and maybe get off a force slow on them for the next round. So I go ahead and go with Ezra, who's a smuggler, so he can play black market prices, so he can help me rebuild my hand here. And let's see what I drew. I have fleet-footed in my hand, and I draw To the Limit and Negation. So Negation is a great card for me to draw, since I'm going to be getting an initiative next round, so I'm hoping to make my move here. So I discard To the Limit, which is a good card with Cal. Allows him to move and then wall run and then attack off the wall run. But I just felt like fleet-footed would just be generally more useful to me here. And then I have to figure out what I'm going to do with my second action with Ezra. All of this is just me being still asleep and forgetting that I don't have On the Lam in my hand anymore. I was trying to figure out where I could put Ezra so he could On the Lam away from Iden, wherever she decided to position. And then I realize I don't have On the Lamb in my hand, guys. Wake up. So I just move him back to safety because I'm also trying to predict the Call of Vanguard here. So I figure if I can move back here, then if he wants to call the Vanguard, he'll have to push up Iden pretty close to where I can hopefully strike back and kill her in retaliation. But Iden has a different move in mind, thanks to what is his name? I always forget the little droid's name. Oh, ID10, Dio. With Dio activating, he is able to use Field Tactician to give Iden a free move, and then Iden able to activate and get an attack off this round. So I definitely underestimated. I forgot about Field Tactician. And Iden just rolling pretty hot fire there. 6 damage to Ezra. But at least, so now that Iden has moved all the way up here, though, I'm hoping that maybe, if I'm lucky, I can trap her with Force Slow. Stop her from activating next round. And maybe kill her before she activates. And I'm also blocking line of sight to Ezra with this, so Cal is trying to rescue Ezra from the situation he's gotten himself into. So let's see, I draw Force Push and Planning. And I think I got distracted here. Something came up while I was playing, and I come back. Initiative comes to me. So now I have to think about, so I can Force Slow Iden, but that doesn't stop her from using Call the Vanguard to attack and then run away, or to move up and kill Ezra. So I end up brashing Ezra back to 3PO and Chewie. In hindsight, I don't know if that was a mistake, because he was pretty safe there. I guess I was worried about losing him to Iden, but I don't know. But anyway, we did brash Ezra back to safety, and then I use Force Slow on Iden to make sure she can't activate this round first, and then Destruct does have the Call the Vanguard, which is going to allow her to escape without activating, which is rough. And again, just deals a ton of damage with this attack. Max roll, 9 damage to Cal. Dio follows along. So kind of pretty much counters my counters Force Slow there, and then does have the take initiative. And then this is where I said I kind of spaced out. I think I just was very tired and I forgot to play negation here. But we did rewind it. I said, "Oh my god, I had the negation. Hold on." And then he just showed me, no, I had the comms disrupt. So we just did it like that. So basically I tried to negation the take initiative, and he uses comm disrupt to stop my negation to force the initiative take. And so he can't activate Iden here, but he does have Price of Glory to use with his Scout Trooper to give it 2 movement points, which is going to be just enough to get into range to attack Cal and use Element of Surprise So I tried to negation the element, and then I was like, oh my god, I should have negation the take. And then he was like, oh yeah, I'll just play Calm Disrupt, and then the element of surprise will go through. Trying to play optimally for a practice game, right? Like, let's not. In the tournament, that wouldn't fly, but for a practice game, we're trying to play it out optimally because we're experimenting. We're trying to see what's supposed to happen. So I lose Cal here, so a pretty big swing and a pretty big W for Destruct. Able to completely mitigate my attempt at trapping and killing off Iden. Very good play with the Call of Vanguard and the movement card. Everything kind of played out perfectly for Destruct there. And so gets 8 VPs. The other scout joins the first scout over on that side to the left. And so now I have to figure out what I'm going to do here. But at least now I know I'm going to get initiative next round. Everybody else is still pretty safe. Ezra is back to safety there. So, and then, so I think I just go with, I don't know, did I pass here? I might have passed. I don't think I can pass though. Oh, we're playing Callus again. Used Callus's ability to distribute power tokens after I played Negation. So even though Negation got negated by Calm Disrupt, it still triggers Callus's Hunt Descent to give out power tokens. So Callus and Krennic are a pretty formidable duo. However, he does have the advanced comms on Callus and not on Krennic. So Krennic is a little bit limited by his range there. Krennic usually likes to wear the advanced comms to extend the reach of his unhinged director out to 3 spaces. Alright, so I activate R2 to start rebuilding my hand. And let's see, did he pass? Because I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. He had 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh yeah, because he exhausted his officer and he was already down a deployment. So it looks like he passed here. Has less ready groups than me. So I activate Gideon and play Planning. So again, holding off on that planning has helped me here a lot. It's going to help me rebuild my hand pretty quickly and get ready for the next round where I can make my push. And just activates Iden now that she's no longer under force slow to retreat her. I activate Chewbacca. Okay, so here, I'm making my move now. So let's see, because now he's down to just the scouts and Callus. 1, 2, 3, 4. So actually I see an opening here. I activate Chewbacca. I play fleet-footed now that I know Calm Disrupt is gone. But oh, he still could have negation. So I play fleet-footed before I do anything else. And then because I'm able to fleet-footed, I drew. Oh, that's why I drew with planning. I drew into all in a day's work. So I use fleet-footed. I double move Chewbacca. And then I use the free slam with Wookiee Avenger. And I push this guy over this way. So now he's completely blocking line of sight to me, but I can see past him to his buddy. And this is where I'm able to use All in a Day's Work, which is a really good card with Chewbacca. Also good with Cal, as I mentioned, but allowing me to now become focused and attack as well as the slam for my third action. This is why you'll notice I don't focus Chewbacca almost ever, because I have Debts Repaid that already will focus him, and I have this card, All in a Day's Work, that can also focus him. So I don't like to focus Chewbacca unless I'm really have nobody else to focus. So focused attack on the scout, who I definitely can see through his camouflage from that close. Unfortunately, I don't roll super hot, so I do 6 damage and a stun. And I'm pretty safe here because Callus cannot get line of sight to Chewbacca, so I think that's why I made that move. And then I know that I'm going to be able to activate Chewbacca again in the next round, so I can just slam the 1 health guy, move back, and then attack and kill the other Scout Trooper, hopefully. So Krennic installs the tap onto the far right one. And now I have a tough choice. So I have 3PO. Oh no, I'm not going to go with 3PO. Oh, I do go with 3PO. And I focus up Gideon. Callus is going to draw me a card. So while Callus and Strat Shift are quite good together, because you can Strat Shift after you draw with Callus, he is also kind of a double-edged sword, where if you didn't win the turn you Strat Shifted, using Callus can actually be really helpful. I was very much appreciating the extra card draw from Callus here. Absolutely acting as my Rebel Fulcrum. So Callus going to double move to get up to Chewie so that he'll be able to threaten Chewie here. And now I have a tough choice to make with Jin Odon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually really wishing I had not activated 3PO first there. Definitely should have activated Jin here, because what I end up doing is going for the tap. So I decide I need to attack this tap and keep Destruct from getting these victory points. So at first I thought maybe I'll go all the way up and start messing with his figures up there with the Bs. The problem is that he could activate B1 and attack Jin, and there's nowhere I could get away from B2 if I stun it. So I decided, let's just go for the red. I looked at the damage calcs. I said I had about a 47% chance to hit at range 8. And then I know that I can use Sidewinder to move the 2 spaces back to 3PO. So I think the reason I activated 3PO first there was so that I had somewhere for Jin to retreat to. Because I knew I wasn't going to be able to get back to safety, and those scouts are going to be able to come down and shoot at me. So I think my idea was, let's try and tank some shots from the scout troopers with the distracting bonus and cunning bonus from 3PO. But I definitely underestimated the scouts, and I forgot that they apply -1 evade. So they basically nullify 3PO's ability. So I think that was a misplay against the scouts. So I attack and I make range and I take out the final tap, so no more abilities. I use Sidewinder here, taking the strain as a card, so I discard Pummel and move Jin back. I do have On the Lam in my hand, which I drew off of Callus's Fulcrum ability. And so I think what I should have done there was activated Jin, done what I did with Jin, but have done that before I activated 3PO, and then just use On the Lam to get back to safety once the scouts started attacking me. And then with 3PO I could have and then I would have been able to refocus Jin there this round and have her ready to go. But that's not what happened, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, range 7. Not difficult at all for the focused scout. I think he did lament here though, with Krennic being so far away. With advanced comms, Krennic would have been able to boost this attack. Luckily, I get an evade on the dice, so 3PO's distracting, able to nullify the -1 evade from the scout trooper here. So I still at least get a cunning bonus, but not nearly as much of one as I would have liked. But I do cancel out the surge at least. So no surge for weaken, which is important. very nice that we moved that from being an automatic effect that they get every time they attack, they would apply weaken, to a surge, so that was relevant. But still rolls really well and has the reroll there from professional. And so it's going to be 6 minus 2 block, so 4 damage to Jin Odon. She has 8 health, so took off half of her health with that move. And so, knowing that the first one did 4 damage and I got kind of lucky with the defense, I decided to just go ahead and on the lamb. So at least I burned off 2 focuses from these scout troopers and only have to take 4 damage. And then I decided to activate Ezra, since I believe... Do I have Pummel in my hand at this point? Oh, I have Force Rush and Tools for the job. But I think hoping I draw into Pummel. So that was round 3. And now going into round 4. I have the initiative. I top deck into Pummel, and I go ahead and use Brash with Ezra here. Destruct plays covering fire, so it's going to allow him to stun me if he can get these surges. Also going to give 3 hiddens out to his figures. And I start off. Now I have initiative because I don't have to deal with take initiative anymore. And we're going to start off with Pummel. So this one's focused. I'm not going to be able to use the full Much to Learn ability because I don't have a Force user there to help me, but at least I get the reroll with Chewie. And the nice thing is I'm going to get that Recover 2 on 2 attacks here. In hindsight, I wish that I had used Force Rush so that I could move back, but I just didn't think to do it. And then I do the second unfocused attack on the other scout, saving my tools for the job. And I got to recover 4, which is pretty great. Unfortunately, he's just sitting there where he can be attacked. If I had used Force Surge, I could have moved him back. Made it a little bit harder to attack him. So Callus can activate here. I'm going to draw a card for both of us. And melee attack on Chewie. So that's the other nice thing, is if Chewie can survive this activation, and I can activate him, I believe I have drawn... Did I draw debts yet? I did redraw into debts repaid, finally. So now we are doing the melee attack with Callus. Allows him to swap out one of his blue dice for a red dice when attacking adjacent targets. And 2 damage with that one. Rolled probably the best roll I've ever seen with Chewbacca, defense-wise. Otherwise, he always just rolls terribly. And now I get to activate Chewbacca. Move 1. So I really need to make it so it's super hard for Destruct to kill Chewbacca here. So I don't want to just run him in all the way in to slam and attack and all that. Because if he just kills Chewbacca, then I don't get to use Debts Repaid. So I need to make it so that the only good attack I give him is against Ezra here. But I'm going to use my tools for the job. Oh, I add a blue. So yeah, that was a tough choice. No, I did say I was going to add a green, and then I just for some reason clicked 2 on the blue. But that was a tough choice here. So I have a hidden scout trooper I'm attacking because of covering fire. And so range 5 is actually really tough for Chewie when he's not focused. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's only got innate accuracy of 2 from the blue dice, and then a surge for +2 accuracy. So I could get a surge and a blue and still not make range. So usually I would add a red with tools for the job here, but after mathing it out, I realized that a green die should give me the extra base accuracy on the dice that I need, plus the extra chance to get the surge I need for the +2 accuracy. But that blue dice was supposed to be a green, and it just was. I just screwed that up. But I did say in the chat I'm going to add a green, so we were cool with it. And I think I get just enough to get the kill here, because we do 1, 2, with +1 from Wookiee Avenger, 4, 5, 6, and 2 surges. And I got the accuracy on the dice, so 8 damage going through. And so would not be able to save him with Zillow Technique. So I get the kill there on the Scout Trooper. We're starting to clear things out. And I move Chewie down 1 because I think that from here, the only way you can draw a line of sight to Chewie is, yeah, you have to come all the way up here or here to attack Chewie from there, I think. Especially with Ezra there. I guess if Ezra's not there, then you can attack from here. Yeah, so if without a figure standing here, then they can attack that space from here. But the nice thing is that Ezra is standing there, so until he kills Ezra, he will have to come all the way here to attack Chewie. And that's what I want. I want him to kill Ezra so I can use Debts Repaid and do some more stuff with Chewie. And of course, Destruct is paying attention. He knows this. So he plays quite well around this, actually. But yeah, we're going to see Krennic come up and take a shot at Ezra. Krennic has actually very good attack. Very good surge abilities and a +1 surge on green and yellow dice. But I dodge, so no need to worry about that. Okay, Gideon going to focus... No, who are we activating? 3PO going to focus up Jyn Odon. Officer going to double move to that location up there in the deployment zone. I'm not sure what that was for, but I think we're going to see it soon. Okay, Gideon activates, pushes Jyn 2 spaces, and then I am able to move Gideon to protect Jyn from line of sight. So this is escort Jyn to the battle mission. And that's going to be key because I'm trying to get Jyn to a spot where she can start attacking Destruct's figures this turn as well. Alright, and now we've got Iden activating to double move. Oh no, wait, how did she do that? Oh, Iden played Urgency, that's what it was. So, once again, the movement cards are really getting me. So, it is going to be able to get a attack off with Iden here. And just, again, super hot dice for Iden. And the normal Chewbacca roll I'm used to seeing, which is 1 block with 2 dice. So it deals 8 damage to Chewie with that attack. So now... Oh, also, he's going to do... Dio also going to attack me. And of course, again, just the worst possible defense roll for Chewie. And probably one of the best you could have gotten for Dio there. Except for maybe, I guess Damage Surge would have done an extra damage too. But Chewie does survive at least, but he is very close to death now after just that 1 activation. But luckily I am able to get Jyn up to a spot where I can stun. Oh, and I missed that part. So he played Change of Plans after he activated Iden and exhausted the Scout Troopers. So able to reactivate Iden here thanks to Change of Plans. Which was a great play because it was going to be able to kill Chewbacca, despite my positioning of Chewbacca there, without triggering debts repaid. So fantastic play. So what I have to do here is I'm able to get Jin into position and attack Iden. I actually misplayed here, I think. So actually, Iden got a surge cancel. Man, Destruct just had everything covered, right? He saw that Jin was in position there, so he took a surge cancel token with Droid Kit to mitigate the stun from Jin, but he didn't spend it there. So what I'm saying is that what I should have done here is I should have attacked Dio first. Oh no, I can't attack Dio at all because Dio has insignificant. So yeah, I had to attack Iden. So really Dio is just gonna mess me up no matter what I do. So we attack Iden, doesn't spend the evade token, and then I used Jin to block line of sight, so now Iden cannot attack Chewie. She'll have to unstun first, and then she can't draw line of sight to Chewbacca. So now I take a long time deciding if I need to quick draw here. The problem is that with Iden and Dio, the way it works is Iden will activate first no matter what, and then the initiative player, which is me, has to use start of activation effects, which is quick draw for Jin. And then after I decide whether I want to use quick draw, that's when the Iden player gets to decide if they want to activate Dio or just activate Iden. So I have to make a choice here before Destruct has to choose if they want to activate Dio or not. I have to decide, do I want to quick draw Iden or do I want to wait and quick draw on Dio's activation? I realize, so the problem with that is if I don't quick draw now and they activate, then he can just activate Iden and kill Jin, and then I don't have any quick draw, right? So, but if I don't try to quick draw Dio, then Dio is just going to kill Chewie with 2 damage. So I decide to just let Iden activate and not quick draw, and then he goes for the Dio activation at the start of Iden's activation. So then I decide to quick draw. Unfortunately, we realize after the game, again, it's like 2 a.m. at this point, that Dio, I completely forgot. Dio has insignificant, so I can't attack him while he's standing underneath Iden there. So really I should have just quick drawed on Iden. And so I do quick draw, but we did it this way. So Dio dies. And now Iden activates and attacks. So that's the other cool thing is I'm okay with Jin getting killed by Iden because if Iden kills Jin here, I still have debts repaid in my hand. And so I'm trying to force Destruct to trigger debts repaid, but he is doing very good at not letting me. So some very good anti-Chewbacca play here. Goes for Ezra and does 3 damage to Ezra. So I think the way that should have played out, if we were doing it correctly and I was keeping all the rules in mind, is Iden activates. I should have just quick drawed Iden there, because no matter what, if he activates Dio or not, I can't quick draw on Dio. So quick draw Iden, get the extra damage. Then even if he activates Dio, I just have to hope that Chewie can survive a Dio attack, which shouldn't be too difficult with 2 defense dice against a single yellow dice, but, you know, as we saw, he did 2 damage with his last attack. But I think Chewie probably would have survived that. And then we would have seen Iden would have had to attack somebody else, so. Alright, so at this point my command deck is empty, so R2-D2 just starts moving back over to the center of the battlefield where you can maybe do something useful. Since sitting on the terminal accomplishes nothing now. Now we're going into round 5. Deploy the Garrison is played by Director Krennic to pass out some tokens. I use Brash here on Ezra to stand in front of Chewie. I'm doing everything I can to force Destruct to kill somebody other than Chewbacca, so I can at least maybe get a focus off too. I take initiative here. Of course, he's got the negation. I think I was asleep and I did not see the negation pop out. I thought I was activating Ezra, and then he's like, dude, I negated that. What are you doing? I was like, oops. Okay, yeah, undo all that. So Destruct should have negation here, but we forgot to pass the token over to him, or maybe it got undone, which is going to mess me up for later. Combat resupply gets played. It's round 5, so it's going to get 5 damage power tokens here. And then Iden going to activate, going to attack. Oh, and I quick draw on Iden. So probably would have killed her at this point with quick draw damage if I had just quick drawed Iden. And then Iden going to attack Jin. So now it's like, do I play Debts Repaid just to become focused? But I think I really need to get the extra activation if I'm going to win this. So I elect not to play it. Instead, go with Ezra. I use Force Rush here. Attacking Iden. Get the kill, recover 2 damage. So Ezra's recovered 6 damage, I think, this game. So effectively 16 health Ezra. Oh, and I've got Force Push, and I'm like, well, Ezra's gonna die here, so yeet, get away from us. Trying to make it super hard for him to get to Chewie. And I go up to 22. Krennic gonna attack Ezra for 5 damage. Again, good attack, really strong attack. And now I can activate Chewie. The only thing I can see without exposing Chewie to getting attacked is the officer, so I go ahead and take the attack, and I get the kill. 24. And now I'm in a great position here because, again, he pretty much has to kill Ezra and let me trigger Debts Repaid for the full effect. R2, trying to use R2 to protect Gideon, who's my tap carrier. And Callus gonna go for the attack on Ezra, who drops his tap, and I get to play Debts Repaid to ready Chewbacca. The only trouble here is we're not on a time limit. So Destruct has 3 strong attackers left. His only 3 figures are all good attackers, and Chewbacca's my only figure left. And the Scout Trooper is now in a position where I can't get to it, and it can still get to me if it needs to. Because again, this space is key, and the Scout Trooper is still within 4. So Chewbacca can't really hide in this hallway anymore without being exposed to an attack from that Scout Trooper. So if it was a timed game, I would have just run in there, smashed somebody for a bunch of damage, like killed Krennic, and then won if this was going to be the last round. But the problem is, if I do that in an infinite time game, then I lose Chewbacca to... I trade Chewbacca for Krennic, he still has a Scout Trooper and Callus, and all I have is the Rebel Care Package. And they lose that fight, right? So this is kind of a weird one where, because it's not a timed tournament game system, we were way past time at this point because I, again, was playing very slowly and trying to think through my turns very deliberately. So what I should have done here is I should have gone with Chewie. I should have just picked up the tap. So here's the other problem. At this point, I'm looking at the board and I see that I had initiative, and I think that he's going to get initiative next round. So based on that, he could just double move the scout over to where he could then activate with initiative and kill Chewbacca, unless I get Chewbacca to a very safe spot. If I had been paying attention, or if we had, actually switched this over to where it was supposed to be, I would have realized that I was going to have the active initiative next round. So what I should have done is I should have picked up this tap with Chewbacca, gone 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, I don't know why it's clicking around. To there. I would have been safe from the scout trooper. And then I think I could have gone 1, 2, install the tap. Or at least just gone 1, 2, 3, 4 to here and been safe. But yeah, I should have picked up the tap and moved Chewie back, and then I would have been in a spot where Chewie could move up and attack whoever came chasing after him, or at least installed the tap somewhere to get me some points. But instead, I just double move him back to safety, because I'm like, if I lose Chewie, I lose. So Scout Trooper goes for R2-D2 instead. Gets a really good roll against a really bad roll, and does 4 damage. And I install the tap with Gideon here at the end of the round. And go to 28. And this is where I realize, oh, I'm supposed to have initiative. Not sure about this play either, but trying to get some damage onto Krennic with Gideon attack, a focus Gideon attack. Does 2 damage. And this is not a safe spot for Gideon to be standing. Callus finishes off R2-D2. And then I double move 3PO, thinking if I can protect Gideon, maybe I can win. Also trying to protect my tap from getting uninstalled. And Krennic one-shots 3PO. So now I'm not even sure what to do with Chewbacca. Just leave him there. And I think at this point we call it because there's nothing I can do. I'm now in the same position at the start of the game where Chewbacca cannot close the gap without being put into a spot where he can be shot. So, and I'm not going to have last activation because I'm now 3 activations to 1. So Destruct just destroys my tap, and it's very odd, right? Because it looks like I'm winning by a lot. But because there's no time limit here, Destruct has all the time in the world. This is basically an end game, right? This is a checkmate scenario where Destruct can use the rest of the turns to just slowly move up and corner Chewbacca to a point where he can, even if he loses one of his figures to a Chewbacca activation, he then just counterattacks and kills Chewbacca and wins the game. So, anyway, kind of odd, kind of a strange one because of the lack of time limit, but I am very appreciative to Destruct for just playing that as a practice game. It gave me time to think out my moves and really think about how I wanted to try and play that. Definitely want to try this list again, or maybe a similar list, but with a smuggling compartment added in, just so I don't have to worry about getting my hand wrecked by spies. Would be a very good card to include. Anyway, let me know how you guys' games are going. I'm having actually a lot of fun with this season's competitive portion with league games and watching the tournament play out. I hope you guys are enjoying it too, and let me know in the comments what's been your favorite list to play so far in Season 9.